all you gorgeous creeps out there, and greetings, my fellow ghouls, goblins, and ghosts. I bid you all welcome to my catacombs of creepiness and my cemetery of screams. My name is Purgatory, the Queen of Samhain, and here in my catacombs of creepiness we discuss all things horror, big or small. So if you're just as big of a fan of horror and the macabre as I am, be sure to smash the like button down below and hit subscribe. Be sure to also follow me on all social media platforms, that's Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at PurgatoriHorror. I'm not on Facebook, so you will never find me there. Also, if you're a fan of my content and you want to support it in other ways, be sure to sign up for the official Purgatory Horror Patreon. There you'll find all sorts of exclusive horror content like horror poetry, short stories, written reviews, horror art, behind the scenes stuff, personalized tarot card readings, and much, much more I can't mention here. Anyway, let's get into today's horror topic, shall we? I'm pretty excited, and dare I say, this is going to be quite the interesting video. I'll be discussing one of my favorite international horror films, the 2003 French slasher film, High Tension. But not only that, I will be discussing my theory about the film and why it makes sense to me. And the reason why I have a theory about this to begin with, it's because you go through the duration of the film and it's a regular slasher film, but then it has a bit of a significant twist at the end that a lot of horror fans didn't really get behind, and you know, I could understand why. And for years I could kind of disregard the ending just because of how brutal and fun and just gory the film was as a whole. But over the years, the more I watched it, I actually came up with a theory that actually made the ending make a little more sense, and it definitely made the movie a lot better for me. So if you haven't seen High Tension, I highly recommend clicking off of this video and watching it before going further, because I'm about to drop some major spoilers onto you. And once you've seen it, come on back to hear my fan theory / explanation of the end of the film. High Tension, aka Switchblade Romance, is about two best friends, Marie and Alex, who are on their way to Alex's parents' house for the weekend to get some studying done. When they arrive, Marie finally meets Alex's father and little brother, but Alex's mother's asleep because they arrived late at night. After Alex's father goes to bed, Alex gives Marie like a little tour of the house, and after that they sit down to eat a late night dinner and have a discussion about boys and hooking up and, you know, all that stuff. Then, after dinner, they both say goodnight and go to bed. Well, Alex does at least. Alex actually takes a shower and goes to sleep while Marie lies in bed listening to her cassette player and doing a little self-hanky-panky, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. And she does this after seeing her friend Alex naked through the window of the upstairs bathroom while she's outside smoking a cigarette. This definitely indicates that Marie has some strong romantic feelings for her best friend Alex that she just hasn't come clean about yet. Well, after Marie is finished doing the deed, she hears a truck pull up outside and the door buzzer goes off immediately and very loudly, which is odd because it's super late at night and who the hell would be, you know, coming to Alex's parents' house this late at night? Marie, curious, you know, as probably you or I would be, steps out of the room while Alex's dad rushes out of bed to answer the door. He opens it and asks what the guy wants, but is immediately struck with a blade in the head. You would think that the dad is dead, but he's not. He's just screaming in pain on the floor, which is weird because he got struck in the face, but I guess he didn't get struck that hard. The home invader then lets himself into the house, and this part I really hated. He murdered the adorable family dog, guys. Well, the dog was wanting to attack him when he came in because he's like, whoa, I don't know you. What are you doing in my house? What are you doing around my family? You're gonna kill my family. And when he pounces on the killer, he kills the poor dog. Yeah. And I'm just gonna say this right now, guys, stop killing dogs in horror movies. It's not necessary. Anyways, like I said, the dad isn't dead yet, so he finishes the job. Which is probably one of my favorite kills in any horror movie. He takes the dad's head, shoves it through the bars of the balcony of the stairs, sorry if I went blank for a second, takes a dresser or table and just decapitates him, just slides it and decapitates him. Pretty crazy and gruesome. Marie sees all of this happen just by standing in a corner upstairs, and then she runs back into the guest room and tries her best to put the room back together, hide her clothes and suitcases, to make sure if he comes in there expecting someone to be in there, that it'll appear that nobody has been in there for a while. Which is actually really brilliant. I probably wouldn't think of that, and he would probably have killed me. After she does all this, you think that she's going to hide behind the shower curtain, but she's actually going to hide underneath the bed, which is pretty smart. And just like, I said before, the guy actually goes from room to room, killing each of the family members off. Unfortunately, he even kills the little boy. The dog and the little boy. Why? This guy's a freaking creep. When she thinks the coast is clear, Marie runs out of the guest room and into Alex's room, where she sees Alex tied up. He hasn't killed her, he just tied her up and gagged her. Once she hears the killer coming back, she goes and she hides again. That's when the killer actually comes back and he takes Alex with him, putting him in the back of his rusty, dirty truck. But little did he know that Marie was in the back of that truck too, trying to devise a plan to get her and her friend out of the sticky situation. Marie even stole a knife from the kitchen, and she's trying her best to pry the back of the truck open as quietly as she can, trying to get the lock to do a little bit so they can get out unnoticed. And when she finally snaps it, they stop at a gas station. When they're stopped, Marie runs out of the truck and into the gas station while the killer is filling his gas tank up. And when she gets in there, she warns the clerk that his next customer is a serial killer and to call the cops immediately. Well, surprise, surprise, he ends up killing the clerk too. Marie hides from him for a while to make sure that, he's out of sight, but before she can get back into the truck, he leaves Marie there. And this is devastating because Marie's like, oh no, he's got my friend, what am I going to do? Marie jumps into the clerk's car after notifying the police about what was happening, and she chases this guy down. She does not want him to get away, not at all. Now, after a while, the killer kind of knew that somebody was on his trail, and they begin playing a real-life, grisly, messed-up game of bumper cars. Just crashing into each other, it's just a mess at this point. After all of this, it causes Marie to crash the car. The car actually flips, and while Marie is, seriously hurt, she's got blood coming out of the side of her head, she's not stopping. She goes after the killer. That's when she finally comes face to face with the killer, the one who brutally murdered her best friend's family, and goes toe-to-toe with him. And that is actually one of my favorite parts because she manages to kill him with a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire, channeling her inner Mick Foley. Love it. Thinking for sure that the killer is dead, she runs all the way back to the truck to let her friend out. She begins happily untying Alex to set her free, and that's when Alex grabs the butcher knife that Marie had before and begins screaming at Marie, "Don't touch me, get away from me, you murdered my family." What? There lies the twist, everybody. There wasn't a home invader at all. Marie, who had bottled up her feelings for her best friend for so long and was too afraid to talk about her sexuality, had a bit of a psychotic break and murdered Alex's whole entire family, taking Alex hostage. I mean, we knew at the beginning of the film that she was attracted to her best friend. She may have romantic feelings for her, was just too afraid to admit it, but None of us knew that she would kill her whole family. And by this point of the film, people were very annoyed about the way it ended, especially because you see a dirty truck and you see scenes of the killer in the film in other places that both Marie and Alex were not around in. But here is where my little fan theory comes into play, and for me, it made it make a little more sense. So without further ado, here's the explanation. Obviously, this doesn't mean what I'm about to say is a fact. It's just my interpretation of it, but it just made the story and the end make a little more sense to me. The film starts off with Marie chanting over and over, "I won't let anyone come between us anymore," followed by, "Are they recording?" She asks somebody in the room, "Are they recording?" And when it starts, we, maybe think she's in the police department or something and they're interviewing her, but actually no, and I'm about to get to that. At the end of the film, after everything that happened, it shows Marie in a mental institution, the same scene from the beginning, chanting the same line over and over again, "I won't let anyone come between us anymore." Now during that part at the beginning, when she asks, "Are they recording?" it leads me to believe that the events of the film aren't actually what happened at all. Yes, Marie did kill Alex's entire family, but there wasn't a rusty truck, and the man didn't exist at all. And we gathered that the, home invader didn't exist. He was a figment of Marie's imagination. And the way I see it, and like I said, this is just my theory, doesn't mean it's fact, but the way I see it, the events of the film are Marie's retelling of the events from her point of view. And in her point of view, it was the home invader, the killer, but she wasn't in her head. It was really her that did it, but she was telling the interviewers that it was somebody else, somebody that her psyche created. I think what really happened is that Marie had a psychotic break, murdered Alex's whole family, put Alex in the back of the car that they came in, and took off with her. Not a truck. There wasn't a truck. I think she put her in the actual trunk of the car that they came in, but she told the interviewers that there was a rusty truck. With the scenes of her interacting with Alex in the back of the rusty truck, telling her that everything is going to be okay, well, that never happened. Those parts never happened. That's just what she's currently telling the people interviewing her in the psychiatric ward, if that makes sense. Point blank, everything was in her head. Everything that we're seeing on screen was in her head. And the scene where she killed the killer, I believe she was battling with herself. Kind of like a split personality, but not really. I'm not sure how that works. I think it was a literal battle within her own head, if that makes sense. She was battling the killer inside of her. Leads me to think that the part where she crashed the car chasing after the killer, she never crashed. She parked the car, ran out, and hit herself with the 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. A literal battle between one and oneself. And the part where she was bleeding out of the side of the head from the car crash, that didn't happen in the car crash, I don't think. I think it was self-inflicted from when she used the 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. I think she hit herself with it when she was battling with the killer. Anyway, this is just me trying to make sense of everything. Do with it what you will, but to me, it made a lot of sense, and I could actually see it. In a nutshell, I believe the film that we're watching is just her retelling her side of things, her point of view. What happened in her mind, what she saw, what she believed was happening. And if that's truly the case, I love that. I think it's one hell of a Rubik's Cube in your brain type of situation. And if that is the case, that's pretty original and brilliant. I think that's kind of cool for a horror film. Obviously people will, still probably not like that, but that's okay, What may work for me may not work for somebody else. or vice versa. Well, there you have it, guys. That's my theory. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have any theories of your own. And be sure to give me a like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss when I post a video, which is weekly right now. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms, that's Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at PurgatoriHorror. Be sure to also sign up for my Patreon to further support my content, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. A big thank you to all of my current patrons. You guys are seriously the best. Right now the funds are going to my oral surgery, so I do appreciate it a lot. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I love you so long, and pleasant streams.